Good morning. Thank all of you for coming out here today. Friday evening, we filed a lawsuit against Bob Dean in the state of Louisiana for the atrocities that took place during Hurricane Ida. Before we really get started, I would like to thank Cole Investigative Services, LLC. They're the ones that brought this case to our attention, got us in touch with Ms. Darlene Franklin, who was our client in this case. What happened was atrocious, unnecessary, and avoidable. The fact that Bob Dean's hurricane evacuation plan even included dumping 843 senior citizens into a warehouse, how that plan got even approved by the state of Louisiana is ridiculous to me. Mr. Dean has made money, millions and millions of dollars, on the most vulnerable people we have in society, our elderly. And he has used his big contributions to both Democrats and Republicans in this state to basically operate with impunity. Yes, we understand that the state did the right thing by revoking the licenses after this incident happened, but it was a little bit too late. It's a little bit too late for the 7 individuals that died. It's a little bit too late for the other 836 people that were left there in inhumane conditions. We need to do better. Shame on you, Bob Dean, and shame on you, state of Louisiana, for leaving those vulnerable behind. We know our lawsuit is one of several lawsuits that have been filed. We would like to take this time to extend an invitation to anyone who was affected by this avoidable tragedy, to come forward and join the fight for justice and the fight for truth. With that, I will pass it off to either one of my colleagues, and we'll open the floor for questions.
Ron, can you tell us a little bit about your client, Ms. Franklin? Like, where is she now? What kind of condition is she in?
She's currently in a nursing home in New Roads, Louisiana. The tragic irony with Ms. Franklin is that Ms. Franklin actually was an employee for Bob Dean and retired as a nurse there in 2016. And 5 years later, she's a victim of Bob Dean.
Was it a mistake not to let the state in? They left a day late. Could this have been avoided?
This could have been, well, that's a good question. First, it absolutely was a mistake for the state to leave. Listen, the license is given through the state of Louisiana, so how are you going to tell the person that's basically supervising you to get the hell off your property? That just shows the hubris in the political umbrella that Mr. Dean thought he was in. But to go further, the state should never have been there to begin with, because guess why? These folks should never have been brought to a warehouse to begin with at all. The fact is that your hurricane evacuation plan, if you own a nursing home or run a nursing home in this part of the state, you have to have a hurricane evacuation plan on file. On file. And somehow the state of Louisiana approved a hurricane evacuation plan that said, you know what, we're going to roll out 800-something cots, stick them in a hot warehouse, put 2 or 3 porta potties in there, and just leave these people sit until the storm blows over. So yes, it was too late. But they should never have been there to begin with. They should have been a better evacuation plan put in place. Listen, this is not the first hurricane that Louisiana's had all through the South. Hurricanes come, but guess what? We don't hear of stories of the poor and elderly stuck in a warehouse and just left there for an insurmountable amount of time.
Was they getting their proper care? Was they taking their medication?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And according to my client, she did not receive her medication. According to our client, she did not eat for 2 days. According to my client, that the smell was so bad, and she's more haunted by the cries of discomfort and pain that her the other individuals that were stuck in the nursing home with her. She suffered a great deal from this, as everyone that was there did. But no, they were not getting their proper care. They weren't getting food. They were not being changed. They were not getting their medicine.
Why is the state ultimately responsible?
Because they approved the plan. They approved it. Bob Dean submitted this plan to dump over 800 people into a warehouse during a hurricane, and they said, you know what? That's okay. We're going to approve that. So yes, they're responsible for that, but they're also responsible. Like, this is not the first rodeo with Mr. Dean. Some of you folks here that are not in front of me have investigated him just 2 or 3 years ago for issues pertaining to his nursing homes. And yet the state did not act at that time and take his license away at that time. So we're under the opinion that this person should not have had the opportunity to have a license at this time. He shouldn't have been allowed to.
So what's that the state trying to investigate if that's their plan?
Listen, I think that right now they are kind of in a reactionary standpoint. They are reacting to the problem, but they should have taken proactive measures. They should have proactively made sure that the elderly were taken care of.
Plans are supposed to be shared with clients and family members ahead of time. When was your client made aware that this was the evacuation plan? Ever?
After the storm was over. And so our client's daughter contacted us and indicated that she knew where mom was throughout the storm. And then to come to find out that your mother was not being taken care of, neglected. Again, it's a shame. It's a shame this was avoidable. This did not have to happen. And there are so many different layers to this that we are going to uncover through our litigation. And that's why we're encouraging everyone, and regardless if you come and accept our invitation, but do not let this go. You know, if you have a family member that was a victim of Bob Dean in the state of Louisiana, stand up and join this fight, because we need to hear your collective voices. They need to see the faces and the families that were hurt, left behind, and just suffered for unimaginable reasons. This is one of the most avoidable tragedies that took place. Listen, I normally try to keep an even keel, but just with something like this, it just makes me angry, because I think about my grandmother, I think about my grandparents, I think about my father who's been in a nursing home before. And so this just pulls at me different. It pulls at all of us different.
So is your client in a better facility right now? She's in better hands right now?
She is, absolutely. Look, anything's better than what that was. So the fact that she's getting medication, the fact that she's getting her basic needs, the fact that she's being changed, shows that she's in a better place. Again, the picture just really needs to be painted about how much squalor this was, how much squalor that they were in, that essentially they rolled out mats and they put them right there behind the library and just stuffed these people here. The only difference is they had covering. I mean, no bedding, no anything. Before we conclude, I have Mr. Byron Cole, who's the individual that brought this case to us and brought us to and brought this case to us for us to fight, and then I'll open the floor again up for any other follow-up questions. Mr. Cole?
First, I'd like to say that, you know, this is a mainstream issue in our society, and that the pandemic exposed it first, the issues we have with the facilities that care for the people who are handicapped or elderly. And I'm glad that Mr. Haley and Associates were able to take the case, and we want justice for the citizens of New Orleans. Thank you.
Mr. Cole, you give us your first name and your last name and spell it for us, please?
Yes, my name is Byron Stephen Cole, Byron Cole.
And you have a title?
Yes, I'm with Cole Investigative Services, LLC. I referred the case to Haley and Associates. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments you guys? You guys have anything else? Okay. Thank y'all so much for coming out. This is such an important issue, and one that cannot be swept under the rug. This issue cannot be put away the same way that these families were put away. This case cannot be put away like they put away these elderly people. And we're going to do whatever we can to keep on elevating this issue. We're going to do whatever we can to keep this in the forefront, both in the news and in the courtroom, because we fight hard for our clients in both. And again, I just want to thank all of you coming out to help us continue to elevate this issue. Thank you.